You wanna give me the safety? You're gonna protect me.
There's a cave that is by zombie.
This is gonna hurt. Oh, oh, oh. Oh, oh, oh. He got you?
Yep. And I don't know where you are. Right back where we.
Dude, there's a lot of enemies, a lot of mobs.
Oh, Dad, that's.
Let me get on a tree.
Dad, we can't die.
Oh, I see you.
Dad, we can't die.
I'm gonna live up in the trees. I feel safe up here.
Really? A spider's gonna come get you.
That's not the thing I'm worried about, it's just spiders. But for everything else,
Daddy, how did you get up there?
for everything else,
me.
I feel safe.
Help your son. Daddy?
Yeah, you don't have the phone or cable. That's the best way to do it, dude. Honestly, I mean, cable companies are scared because nobody really buys cable anymore. Like, why? Why would you want cable? Why would you want to spend $50, $80 a month on a cable plan that's, you know, overcharging you in the first place, and all you're getting, usually you're getting like 1080. You're not even getting 4K channels yet. Like, there are some, but there's not that many. Netflix, I think, has more 4K than freaking cable does.
No! Daddy, help!
What you do?
I need help.
You need help?
I need help getting to the trees.
No.
Really? You're just
Hopefully
going...
you guys got some good internet over there, though, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, good internet would be good.
You care about internet more than your son about to die.
Yeah, it plays the same stuff. That's crazy, bro.
Daddy, skeleton.
All right, I got a few things here. I got like rotten meat, some stuff, and stuff.
That's not good to eat. Rotten meat isn't good to eat.
Why not? It sounds good to me.
Oh. Oh no, skeleton! Now you dropped me right by a skeleton. You're gonna come help me.
No, you hit me first.
Oh, I got bones and arrows. Dad, but seriously, since it's nighttime, we gotta start digging up some wood.
What the heck are you?
I'm a ice god.
Oh, you're an ice god. Look at you, Thomas. What's up, dude? What's going
Daddy,
on, bro?
go get that tree over there.
The who? What?
Right here. Get this tree right here. Get that tree.
Okay.
I'll get this tree.
All right. First, we're gonna have to do what? We need to get wood, right?
Yeah.
All right. We're gonna get wood. We're gonna survive.
Yeah. Need to survive the night. If you survive the night.
For tonight, we will not survive.
How did you dig out that tree faster with rotten meat?
Hey, sometimes rotten meat's the way to do it, bro. It's better than your hands.
So, Daddy, make a bunch of these.
Who? What?
Make a bunch of these.
Old planks or whatever, whatever they're called. Not much. That's good. That's good, Thomas. That's good,
Daddy,
bro.
come here.
I'm glad you're doing good, man.
Daddy, come here.
There you go. Solid rolling the slots. Get them slots
Daddy,
in,
come
guys. Hold on, buddy. I'm talking to the stream. Ooh, yeah, we'll do that.
Daddy, don't craft anything.
This is so much easier to play on a freaking PC than a cell phone.
Daddy, don't craft anything. I got your back.
All right, good.
Here, Daddy.
I like that.
Got you a wooden sword.
With a sword? Yep. Okay.
And I'll get some more planks to accent. Okay?
Okay.
So here we go, real quick.
Fired! Fired.
Daddy, here you go.
The who, what?
Here you go.
The who, what?
Look at your inventory. I just gave you a wooden sword and stuff.
Shit, what the hell?
Daddy, I just gave you a wooden sword, pickaxe, and axe.
They did. Hold on. Stuff ready.
Daddy, look what I do. Look what I do.
Exactly what I do, but I do the opposite. First I do pickaxe, axe, and then sword. And then shovel when I do
Alright,
it.
Daddy, now we gotta dig stuff, right? Okay? Now, Daddy, not the tree. Look, a stick!
Oh, we still need
Daddy, stop!
what? We still need wood.
No, we don't.
Wait, is that a tree you put down?
Yeah. Gotta regrow the trees, man.
Seriously,
Stop. We
dude?
need to go get stone.
Alright, go get stone.
Daddy, why am I looking like I'm a zombie?
Yeah, your arms are right out, or it looks like you're about to dab.
Dab, 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 dab. Daddy, it's morning.
It is. It's gonna be a lot safer for us. Got a spider nearby. What's up, Zero? How are you, bro? Yeah, well, I'm trying to enjoy this now. Solid knows why. I'm trying to, guys. I'm
Daddy,
trying
come
to
here.
enjoy this now while we can.
Come here. Look. Look what
I did
found.
talk to them. They're gonna give me. They gave me an extension.
Look, come here.
I know. Stop hitting me, please. So they're giving me, I think, until the 22nd. So I should be all right, guys. I think we're gonna be okay for a couple more days. We will be okay. Oh yeah, Zero. I finally got the. Today I had to do some. What was I gonna say? What are you doing here? Oh, stone. Oh,
Daddy,
yeah.
what the?
You hate my texture pack.
Look at my Minecraft. This is how you play Minecraft, not your shenanigans.
Yeah, well, this is how I play it. This is how I know it as. The dirt looks the same. Right? The grass, the dirt look the
How
same.
similar does that dirt look?
Hmm.
Exactly.
About to toss my PC out the front door. Dude, I was having issues too. I was playing the game on my PC. And my frame rate, dude. Running 30, 40 FPS. I'm like, wait, time out. I'm not even live streaming. Why the hell is my game only running 30, 40 FPS? That's unacceptable. A GTX 1080 and an 8700K processor, and you're saying I can only run 40 FPS on GTA 5 that came out in like 2013? You out of your mind. You're crazy. Yeah, I don't know what it was, bro. There was something going on.
Hot topic.
Now you can hear it. Uh-oh. Wait, hear what? What happened, Thomas? Huh?
I got achievement. Hot topic.
Oh, there you go. Achievements are good, bro. That's what happens when you play without the cheats.
Be quiet.
You're getting achievements so fast. It's okay. You didn't see the world that me and Zero did you?
Probably something.
Oh, that's why I needed your help.
Stick with your world. You just took my cobblestone.
I didn't.
Oh, you want to face me?
Oh. Right, that's what I'm saying, Zero. That's exactly what I'm saying, bro.
Hey, we're running over there.
That's fine. I know, we'll catch up. Just get your stuff ready.
Wow.
I gotta do this all over again.
No, you don't. Your stuff is right here.
Oh, just grab it. You're gonna kill me every 10 minutes. I'm good.
No, I'm not.
I installed another HD drive into my PC. And, what else did it say? It says it's dying? Well, at least you know, bro. The Crystal Disk is really good. I love Crystal Disk. That software never let me down. It gives you, like, the health status, and it gives you, like, the, it gives you the health status and then, like, all the values of your disk, which is good. It'll tell you about your allocated and unallocated drives. Or reallocating and all that good stuff, which is good. Yeah, that's crazy. I wonder where the bees are in this game.
There you go.
Hmm? I'm basically down to my SSD and the 80 gigabyte HD I haven't tried yet, so I might have to buy a new one. But at least tomorrow I'll have a new phone.
Daddy,
No,
where are you?
that's good, bro. Yeah, new phone is
Where are you?
new phone is good. That's always good, bro.
Where are you?
Hmm?
Where are you?
I'm in the world. I'm in your game.
I know.
I know.
And my
I
game
died,
is-
so I don't know where I am now. I gotta try to get my stuff.
I didn't pick it up.
It's fine. And I got my Twitch account back. Yeah, that too. Wait, what? Oh, you got your phone. Yeah, you need that, bro. This time, I would take that off. Just for your well-being, you know? Alright, guys. Now we got a few things here. Let's get a nice little
Where
crafting
you
table.
at?
What the hell?
Does this count as cheating? Can't use. What is this? Daddy,
What?
what kind of grass is this? Daddy, what kind of grass is this?
No idea.
Yeah, I'm not even next.
That's like the original Minecraft. I don't know. Yeah, the two-step verify. Yeah, I don't get it, bro. Why did it do that to you? That's so weird. Yeah, that is so weird, bro.
Where you at?
You know, Mohammed, what's going on? How are you? How you guys doing today?
Oh, great. Now I need coal.
I hope everybody's doing good. Nicole,
Yeah.
what did you do?
Llamas!
Drink some H2O here.
Daddy!
Hmm? Some llamas? Damn. Why is this like doing this to me? I should have to build it like that though. Why is it not letting me?
Why are you building a house?
Oh, I think I know what it is. Settings. Hold on, guys. I think I know what it is. The heck is it?
You're gonna play with me?
Yeah, yeah. Here we go. We have to find each other. First, I gotta.
I don't even know where you're at. I'm way far beyond.
It shows Little Man on my friends list on Minecraft, but not yours. Really? Wow. Yeah, he's on Xbox. I'm on Windows 10.
Daddy!
There you go, Thomas. Get that card in, bro.
You're fired!
My mic was muted. Oh gosh. Seriously? Anyway, like I was saying, yeah, that was a good part you guys missed earlier today too as well. No man, where'd you go? I just lost you, dude.
I'm somewhere. Let's just say I went in the water. I ran for the trees. Daddy, look, that water over there. Yes. If you look at that water, find me.
Yowzers. My mic was muted. Unbelievable, guys.
Dad, where you at?
Unfreaking believable.
Look,
What?
right here. Not see the drowned on the other side of the island?
Nope. Nope, not at all.
Dad, I see you! Turn around! Daddy, no, stand still.
Hmm?
Stand still.
Careful. Look, a guy actually swims? Look, their body actually moves in the water now. Man, they updated this game so much.
Daddy. Daddy.
10 whole minutes of talking to myself. Unbelievable, man. And I had a good discussion.
Daddy.
Yeah.
Are you gonna come follow me?
Yep. Come on.
Look, come here. I can help us now. Okay? I can help me and you. Follow me. Don't worry about him. Don't worry about him. Just keep coming. Don't worry about him, Daddy. Turn around and follow me.
So it's kind of fast. That's crazy. Yeah, I don't know what Thomas is talking about though. Dude, there's 3 creepers over there. Bro, we need protection, man.
Daddy, here. Come here. Come here.
Watch out
Before
about
that dude attacks you, come here. Look. I got another one. Got him. Oh, Daddy, here. I got you an axe, too. Daddy, here.
Where the heck did I get a potato from?
Daddy, here. Got you an axe. I got a sword and an axe. You got a sword. Okay?
Okay.
See, Daddy, I can help us. Okay? Help us. Daddy, I know. Daddy, you can't mine with your fist. Look, you have to mine with this. Daddy, don't worry. Just stand still. I will get us some, axes.
Did I get your invite for what? Right. Oh, speaking of that, I gotta transfer to the mobile world. For sure. Oh, Trix is tired, huh? The who what?
Hey, you have any planks?
Play? No.
Can I have some planks?
Oh.
32. Oh. 6 real quick. Make you a pickaxe. Daddy, here. Here, Daddy. Me and you both have a pickaxe. And
Oh, yeah, that's the main thing I wanted right there. Yeah.
Daddy, look. I have a sword, pickaxe, and a stone axe. See, Daddy, now we can do something, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now we need to find iron.
On Steam? Did I get your invite on Steam? I don't get it. What do you mean? What do you mean, Jay? I'm still gonna call you Jay. Yeah, that's crazy. All right, let's gather up things that we need. Oh, no, I haven't even checked Steam, dude. It's gonna kick me out. Oh, if you just sent it, then yeah, I think I got it. It's flashing on my taskbar. Yeah, you did send something.
Daddy, iron!
Where?
Iron! Right here!
God, get it!
I got it! There's so much iron, Daddy. Dad, there's 4 pieces of iron.
Yeah?
Yeah, only 4. So how about I make you an iron pickaxe first? Okay?
Okay. Oh man, Zero, you're funny, bro. Yeah, we haven't played my world in a while. Well, no, we played our world earlier. Thomas saw. He saw me building some stuff on it. I was on it on there.
Bruh.
You forgot the iron, bro.
Wait, iron!
Yeah, bruh.
4! Right there, come on, let's go up. Daddy, our 4 pieces of
Yeah,
iron
I
are
saw the
done.
invite, but I can't click it yet because it's gonna
Daddy?
kick me out of the game. Yeah.
I can't exactly make me and you an iron pickaxe yet because we only have 4 pieces.
Well, honestly, iron and stone is not much different. The only thing is iron.
Wait, Daddy, we can cook with wooden planks. Look.
Oh yeah, I think it cooks faster. Look.
Yeah, but me and you need the thing. Oh look, the flame runs out quicker.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, coal lasts longer.
Dad, I got the 2 pieces.
Yeah, you got me interested now, man. This invite, like, what is going on? What is going on? Why does the game look so different? I have no idea. How bad does it look, bro? Does it look very different? Does it look very different? What's up, Elijah? Welcome to the stream.
Daddy,
Yeah.
come here. I got a surprise.
Got a surprise.
Look, Daddy.
Yeah.
Give me your pickaxe.
What?
Give me your pickaxe.
My pickaxe.
Give me your pickaxe. I got a surprise.
Oh, we're gonna have to check it out. Give me a second.
Daddy, give me your pickaxe.
Hold on. I think something's being weird here.
Daddy, give me your pickaxe. Yeah, look at your inventory.
Ooh, I think I see it.
Daddy, why'd you just put that away? It's an iron one.
True.
Look, Daddy, I got iron stone. Look, Daddy. Now we can go do some stuff. Look, come here.
Oh, really? Yeah, a few of the things are gonna be a little different. What you doing over there, little man? Wait, is my guy hungry?
Hey, come here. Guy is hungry. I have an idea. Come here, follow me. You're hungry, right?
Yep.
I gotta do something before you die. I'm hungry too.
It might be the different UI I'm using, if that's what you're saying. Man, these rabbits are
Hey,
fast.
Robert! Grab it!
Yeah, they move quick. Not quick enough.
Oh my god! Where'd that rabbit just go?
I don't know, but I got me some raw rabbit. No, I can't eat it raw. Hold on, let me cook
You
it.
sure can?
I'm gonna be sick, right?
No? Rotten flesh gets no more coal. Come here!
Oh man. I'll show you in a second, Zero.
Come here, Ma! Daddy, how did you catch this?
Wait, rabbit's foot? I eat that?
You catch it.
I don't think I eat a rabbit's foot. How am I trying to eat a rabbit's foot? Yeah, so what you
Daddy, I
do,
can't
Tom, or
catch it.
Zero, you go into settings, right? You click on game, or not game, video, and then you just kind of scroll down and
Daddy, I got him.
check a few things here.
Daddy, that's the hard thing about survival. You have to survive.
Yeah.
Oh, it's survive. Oh. Daddy, a rabbit. Dad, there's a bee.
There's a who? What?
There's a bee's nest.
That's not very good, is it?
No, look. Look, Daddy.
Oh, you did find it?
Come near me.
What? Right? Really, Zero? First thing Zero thinks is that I hacked the game. Hello, man. Where'd you go?
I'm trying to kill
Well,
rabbits.
I gotcha. I see ya. Wait. Seriously, rabbit? Come here! Oh, you son of a... Wow, you're a little jumper, aren't you? Whoa, come here. Oh, what the... Oh.
Got you.
Huh? Where'd he go? Did I get the meat? What? Yeah, stop that, please. What the?
Daddy,
Oh,
come
he
here.
didn't throw no meat at me.
Look.
That's depressing. Better be careful, you get the bees mad. Ooh.
No.
Oh yeah, the bees are mad.
I heard he gets stuff for killing bees.
Really?
Yeah. Kill it.
But he's so cute. It reminds me of the movie Bee Movie.
Come here, what?
What they give you?
They stung me. That's what they did.
What happened when they stung you?
You see my hearts?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they do lots of damage.
I heard they're
Buzzing
a
rat.
big
yeah.
stinger.
Hey, look, come over here and do these sunflowers. Come over here and do these sunflowers for bunnies. Come here. Bunnies. Daddy, are you still hungry?
Oh, I'm always hungry. When am I not?
Daddy, come here. Daddy, there's a pig and a chicken.
Who? What?
A pig and a chicken.
A pig and a chicken?
Come here, pig. Daddy, come here. Come here. Look, eat this. Eat this. Eat
Dang,
this, Daddy.
rabbit.
Eat this. How do you chop it? There you go. Eat it.
No, I gotta cook. Gotta cook it.
No, you don't.
You do.
No, you don't.
It gives you less health.
No, I ate it raw, and it's good. I ate 5 of them raw. It's good. I did. I did. Look.
Why am I losing
it.
health now?
Your health is not down. Look at your hearts, and then when you eat it.
I know, but look, it only gave me one health bar. Wow. I could have had 3 if I cooked it.
Daddy, look. Come look at these sunflowers. Right here. Look, come here.
Oh, we got 2 skellies. Oh boy.
You're not listening.
I'm listening. Just come on. What are you doing? You keep telling me look at what?
Command and Conquer.
I have no idea.
Conquer's Bad Fur Day.
Oh yeah, the Conquer's Bad Fur Day. You remember that? What you know about that game? You don't know nothing about that game. That's too context sensitive.
Daddy, look. There's one thing I know about it. Look.
And that's why you just got killed by a zombie. See, that's what happens when you play games like that. Hurry up, I'll watch your stuff.
Where you at?
I don't know how you do it on the controller, but I think on here it's F3. No, F1. No, F5.
Did I just see a ghast? No. I thought I just saw a ghast.
I know. How am I gonna find you?
Daddy, stay right there.
Actually, where's the moon on your screen? The moon's on my left. Head towards the moon. You see the plus cloud on it? No. Or it might be different on your screen. I don't know. What's the spider? Hey, Ultimate Navigator. Yeah, it's been forever. How you been, dude? How's everything? Thanks for coming in. You guys are silly. Nothing changed? Really, Zero? That's weird.
Okay.
You're heading towards the moon?
Yep, I'm trying. Nope. Wait. Dang, skeletons never miss now. I'm in this. I don't want to cheat. I need a teleport.
I don't see you. I don't know why. Where's the moon now?
Gone. Oh, ow! Okay, well, there's the creek I've been looking for.
You found gold.
That's iron.
Right, they said we know little man wants to cheat. Right, he wants to put that on.
Daddy? Daddy? I think you want to see this.
Yeah, Ultimate Navigator, yeah.
Daddy, I think you want to see this.
Hmm?
I think you want to see this.
Hurry
Ow!
up, you're under attack.
Ow!
Don't scream, please. You died again? Dude, you... I hurry up and get your stuff. For you, you need to put it to where you don't lose your stuff when you go down.
What?
You should have set it to where you kept your inventory.
Would that'd be in the cheats.
Oh,
Keep
would?
inventory.
Oh.
Should we just do that?
Oh, I see your stuff there. Let me get on top of the mountain so you can...
Dad, should we just do keep inventory? I'm really getting annoyed.
I don't know. All I know is that I should be building my world.
Really?
Yeah, because right now we don't have anything here. Right. ¿Cómo estás? Yeah. Comida is what I need. Really, Ultimate Navigator? Really? Yeah, it's me and my son. We're playing Minecraft right now, guys. We're just kind of Minecrafting it up. He's good at this game. I'm not. Even though I've been playing it, I'm not gonna lie. We're learning the ropes, guys. You know. Oh, why am I so tired? I'm really exhausted. Holy shoot. Did you just cheat? He said screw it. She's been activated, guys. No more achievements. I don't think you could play one round without cheating.
No, it's because I can't.
You're fine.
Dad, you know how I am. I just can't lose my stuff.
Probably one of these days, Wolf. I'll be doing some like viewer games.
Daddy, here we go. I turned off.
Oh my
cheats.
god, Amnesia, dude.
Wait, Daddy.
I miss Amnesia streams. Yeah, I'm talking.
If you turn on cheats and turn them back off, do you get the achievement again?
No. It gives you a pop-up message saying once you activate, no more. It's not a big deal. Don't worry about it. Yeah, Amnesia is awesome, dude. I wish they'd make another game. The last one was what was it?
Daddy,
Soma?
here,
Soma was their last one.
Daddy, here, you're starving.
It's a GMC world? What's a GMC world?
Eat it.
Yeah, we gotta cook it, bro.
No, you don't.
Yes, you get more meat points.
Come here, Daddy. Follow me. You know what, Daddy? Since you said we can't like get the 20 out. Okay. Wow.
What happened?
Okay, boy. I'm a creeper. You're a creeper. Let's be friends. You wanna be friends? Ow.
Oh, it means creative. Oh, okay. See, tells you how much I know.
What?
I didn't know I meant creative. Yeah, see, give me three blocks instead of one.
Okay, ready?
Yeah.
Dad, we gotta.
Oh, it's
build
for
a house.
testing? Okay, cool. I'm not sure if you have played it, but Final Revelations has a remaster which added more things to the mod. Oh yeah, Final Revelations, I remember playing that. I think you were the one that showed me those. Now that I think about it, it was that one and like a bunch of them, dude. Like, I remember playing all of them. I played the Four Horsemen, I think. A bunch of other ones. They were nice. I did love them.
Dad, where you at? Are you following me?
You do redstones and buildings? Nice. What do you think I should get? HDD or SSD? You already have a 500 SSD. If you want to save money, bro, just go HDD. As long as you got Windows on your SSD drive,
Daddy!
you should be all right, bro. Just keep Windows on your on your primary drive. Keep Windows. Oh yes, I see bees over here too. Where'd you go?
Hey, where you at?
I don't know. I keep losing you. You already cheated anyway. Just teleport.
No.
Oh, look at those ranks. I'm surprised. I didn't even know that even still worked.
Found you. Now, where's that beehive at? You're not stopping me.
Oh yeah, extraction point. Yeah, no, you did, bro. You did.
Daddy, you're not stopping me or talking me out of it. Daddy, you're not gonna stop me or talk
All right,
me
so what are we
out.
doing, little man?
It has honey in it!
I feel like we're just kind of doing nothing here. What are we doing?
It has honey in it! Ow! The bees, get out of here. Where did you just go? Come here. Here.
All right, so you said they updated the bot. Is that what you're saying, Navigator, or did they
He died. Wow. Died.
or they added like a new one?
Alright, Daddy, come on, follow me. Look, a kit!
Wow. Okay.
A witch. I'm like, oh, look, a kit. Dad, I found a witch. Why is there so many witches over here?
I don't know. I saw quite a few too.
Look, there's one right here. Is there a witch hut?
The who? What?
Is there a witch hut?
Oh, here we go.
Dad, did you know witch huts were a thing in Minecraft?
What's that?
Witch huts were a thing in Minecraft.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dad, you find anything good? Wait, Dad, we can go deeper. There's coal.
Right. Oh God. I can't believe you just fell to your death, dude. I saw that epic failed moment. If I could put that in slow motion, I would.
Daddy, I think you want to come see this.
What? What is it? Oh, we're going down?
Yeah, that. Holy moly, it's the most coal I ever seen in my life.
We better grab it out.
Oh, wow, that went quick. Can I have the coal?
Well, actually, you didn't get any? You were standing right under it? I didn't get that many. I only got 12.
Can I have the rest?
Come on. Just
I
grab
got
it.
8. Dad, there's more down here.
Where is... There we go.
Dad, you too scared to come down here?
No.
I heard that. Oh, Daddy, here.
You made a separate one. You still have Final Revelations Classic, but you can also get the Final Revelations Remastered.
Daddy?
Ah, okay.
Watch out.
Hey, playing it again won't be a problem, bro. That was fun. I enjoyed it. All right, so we got some code. We're getting some things here, which is good.
Daddy, how many pieces of coal you got?
Let me check because I keep finding a bunch of coal.
I got 52. Daddy, can Can I have some of your torches?
What? You have coal. Just build them. You got wood sticks? You got no wood? Because you didn't chop no trees.
Can you give me some of your sticks? You got 57 sticks.
You have to tune in for that. Yeah, I will definitely. Either I'll make a YouTube video or we'll do a live stream
You
on
have
it.
57 sticks. Can you share some love?
Would you like anything else? Here, come grab them. There's some sticks on the ground.
Thank you. Oh.
Hey, don't do that, please. That hurt. Ouch. Is there a good name brand to get on HCD? Most of that is personal preference. I would just say most people kind of just there's different kinds. You could go quality over quantity, or you could go quantity over quality.
Daddy?
What? Oh my god, I gotta stretch.
I need your help.
You guys are awesome. Thank you guys so much for everything. Ah! Yeah. I know Revelations.
No.
I'm gonna look this up real quick.
Daddy, help? Ladders?
You're gonna kick me out of the game again. Nah, I think I'm still in the game, which is good.
Daddy. Look, Daddy, I crafted my way out.
I still haven't installed, so let me take a look here. Hold on. Final Revelations. This is version 3.
You left the game.
Did?
Yep.
Oh my god, why does it do that? Remaster Redux in progress. Hello, Final Revelation fans. I decided to remaster Redux, whatever word you prefer to use. Some say it's a remaster, some say Redux. The mod, not many people still playing the game, and this is by far my best mod. But I got some new ideas, tried them out, and we'll be having fun with this, so why not? I don't know, judging by the years. Oh yeah, I remember this one. This one was good. It's even on Steam.
Dad, why did you leave me in this cave?
Amnesia Final Revelations removed from Steam.
Oh, no.
Mastered. Let's just type that in. 2018. There we go. Hey guys, Final Revelations is now over 3 years old. Months ago. Plan on a remaster. I convinced him to finish it, and I'm uploading it now. To blah 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 blah. Oh yeah, this is remastered. So November 17, 2018.
Daddy, can you...
Yep, I'm about to get right back in right now. All right, I got that downloading, so I'll be trying that out. And Jay, did you just send me an invite to last year, bro? Really? Killing me, bro. Are you kidding me? He said, here, play last year with me. That was 10:32 p.m. Then he sent me play Miss Bits. What?
You're fired!
Zero's trolling me. I went from wood cubes to modern houses? Y'all on Java or Bedrock? We're on Bedrock, right? Is
No, we're regular.
that regular? Then what the heck is Bedrock?
Different version.
Okay, there's Bedrock, there's regular, and then there's Java?
Yep.
Man, I get confused.
And there's PC.
Well, that's Java.
Daddy, are you gonna play?
I got the power.
No.
Oh, your building was improved? That's good, Wolf. That's great, dude. That is perfect. What am I looking for here?
Daddy, there's so much iron down here.
Oh, it's Bedrock. Java is PC. Everything else is Bedrock. Yeah, see? I was right. Yeah, Bedrock's the crossplay one. Every time I think Bedrock, I think Flintstones. I don't
Daddy,
know
come
why.
down here.
Flintstones. It's the Flintstones.
Daddy, look, come
yes,
down
it's
here.
the Flintstones
There's bunches
playing
of iron.
Minecraft. Minecraft and the Flintstones.
Stop, you're
Maybe
ruining
we-
Flintstones.
What? You forgot this iron, dude? Really? Right here the whole time? Another one? Oh, gosh. Oh, man. Two more down here. Oh, another one. Oh. What are you doing?
Daddy,
Yeah, I'm right here. What's up?
need your help. There's so
Okay.
much iron down here.
Okay.
Like, I just wanted to mine the other iron that's down here.
Wow. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm playing the Windows 10 version, if that's what you like. He's on Xbox right now, right next to me. And I'm on PC, so we're just cross-playing it up.
Wait, Daddy. Where's my crafting table?
And I did download the mod navigator. I think I found it. It did say remastered. So 2018 is when the remaster came out, right? I hope that's the right one.
Look, Daddy. I got a whole.
Now you're gonna
stack.
have a bunch of iron.
Wait, Daddy.
Okay.
We can make iron swords.
I know we need a safe house. We need beds, and like I always make a safe haven before we move. Or we could just build one down here. Really, it doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
that's what I was about to do. Look, come here.
Okay, so we get that all connected right here, guys. All right, little man. Oh gosh, we need to figure out.
Oh, Flint. Daddy.
What?
I'm gonna save this for later.
Yeah.
Look, I'm gonna save this for later.
Oh gosh.
The flint and steel. You know why?
Ah.
We need that to make a nether portal.
Wow.
Daddy, we have 8 pieces of iron. We can make.
Which one did you want to make?
I can't hear anything in this one.
No? Why? Yeah, don't tell me you messed up my headphones. Why are you not hearing nothing? Come on, man. Let me see them. Don't take them off like that. Here. Yeah.
Working?
Working. Yep.
Daddy, look.
What is it? I gotta clean my mess. I got a mess on my decks. My decks. Wow, what I got, like a ship deck? Wow. On my decks. I can't believe I said that. On my desk. Alright, let me clear this up real quick. Little man, show them what you're building here.
Do you have any wood?
Yeah, I got some. Give me a second.
How do you enter your thing?
Just hold it.
Daddy, we got so much iron. Yep.
Oh. Ah.
Daddy, you're gonna die of hunger.
Get everything? No. Not. Oh, watch out.
Can I have some of your wood?
Yeah, I gotta see how much wood I actually have here. Hold on. Here, take it.
Daddy,
What?
that's my room.
Oh. Well, me so sorry. Thank you, guys. Let me go ahead and clear this and get this out of the way here real quick. Thank you, Navigator. You're okay. You're okay. I appreciate it. I'm not gonna lie. I'm kind of like, kind of tired today. Like I'm kind of chillaxing. Just getting some little bit of father and son time here. That's a Minecraft, guys. Can't go wrong with that. Little bit of family time. I had a couple game ideas today, but honestly, I just didn't have the energy. I'm just really tired, exhausted. And with the holidays being here, you know, just stressed out. Trying to get everything all situated and organized. It's been pretty hard, pretty crazy. Pretty hectic. Yeah, I need a shovel.
That like our little home I made?
Here to share today, huh?
No.
The what?
You like our home I made?
Yeah. Like it a lot. It's really good. A bunch of gravel. Oh.
Alright, Dad, don't mine anymore. Our house is fine.
Okay.
Daddy, stop. What are you doing? Accident. Teleport to me. Teleport to me. Teleport. Chat. Flash.
The heck? Have to do it this way, really? Supposed to remember your name. I'm not OP, really?
Huh?
Man, I'm a castle miner, and this thing is so uneven. It is very
Here,
uneven.
Daddy, I gave you the...
Okay. Oh, okay, that's good. Yeah, no, you got me interested on this this remastered. Honestly, I didn't hear nothing about it. I didn't hear nothing. I'm glad you mentioned it, to be honest. It won't let me. Man, when I said I'm exhausted, I didn't think I'd be this exhausted. Holy mo. So the good news is, guys, Jay especially, I'll get back to doing some Xbox Game Pass mobile live streaming again soon. I should be getting my phone on probably within the week. That makes sense. Okay, that's why you knew. Because honestly, dude, I heard nothing about it. Nothing at all. Nothing whatsoever. And no one I knew about it. I didn't know about it. And even as a streamer, none of my viewers knew about it. And I'm thankful that you knew about it, because now I get to play it. I did like it. I thought it was a great mod. What was it? Machine for Pigs? I think Machine for Pigs. I didn't like that one. Like, it wasn't a bad game, but I I don't know. I just felt like that one wasn't as scary, maybe? If that makes any sense. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how I'm gonna find you, little man. It won't let me teleport you. Maybe I have to leave and come back. I know. You know, everyone's big for Machine for Pigs either. Yeah, not me either. I just felt like they changed it too much, you know, like they removed the like oil thing. They just removed everything. Like Soma was great. It kind of felt like a simulator though in some points, in some aspects, but I think Soma was pretty good in terms of like the design and the layout of the game was overall good. I love the story though. The story was crazy. Big twist. Like, whoa. You played some, just never finished it. I feel like Machine for Pigs would have been better if Frictional worked on it instead of the. Oh yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. I think they tried to keep the elements of Amnesia, but they changed some of the mechanics, and that was a no-no. Shouldn't have done that. That's like taking Silent Hill and trying to turn it into like something else. I don't know. Like versus. Wow, it's already been an hour and a half. I feel like we didn't do nothing. Well, we did do a lot, but it didn't feel like it, right? Jeez, look at the time. That's crazy. Look. We've been out for an hour and 15 minutes on here, but that's not counting a little bit before. That's crazy. Like taking Silent Hill, trying to turn it into Dead by Daylight. Yeah. Poor Jay. Jay's having a lot of complications, guys. Yo, guys, if you can help out Jay, it'd be awesome. Well, Jay, you already figured out the problem, right? You know you have a hard drive issues. How come I can't teleport? I don't get it. I'm tired, guys. I really am. I am very exhausted. Oh, I got the webcam blocked. Oh, nice. Screw it. They even took out the custom stories? Yeah, that was bogus, dude. Yeah, that too. Like, why would you do that? Like, you killed the game. No, but the Amnesia mods are good, and I played some of the Penumbra. Wow, what am I? Remember. What am I, Simba and Mufasa?
Daddy, look. At our house.
It looks nice, dude. Did you sure you gave me OP? Check again, just to
Look
make sure.
my room.
Check the OP thing again. Yeah, Check and see if well, there's one bad
Your
thing about this,
operator.
Solid. I don't think PlayStation's crossplay. If you buy this, you need to buy it for your phone. Unless you want to buy it for your PlayStation, that's fine. But only PlayStation can play with PlayStation. Android can play with Xbox, and Xbox can play with PC.
Daddy,
So those three can play
look,
together.
it says right here.
Yeah,
and
if
use,
Penumbra was remastered, it'd be awesome. I had a mod that kind of remastered it, but it was just textures, really.
It
Texture
says right
tiles.
here. And use commands to have more control.
Did it work?
Operate. Alright, Daddy.
Yeah, it won't let me. That's weird.
Hold on, Daddy.
Ah, you get the Galaxy S9.
You
Yes.
see me?
Feel my pain, bro. Oh yeah, dude. This game is actually mobile compatible. I play this a lot, like when I'm out and about. You see me playing it before, like while I'm in the car. It's pretty I think it's cheaper on mobile. I think it's only like $7, right? How much was this on a phone? This game was like what, like $10 or $7 or something? It wasn't expensive. It costs more on, I think, PC and Xbox. I'm not sure. Oh, it is crossplay? When they added that? I thought they said no because this Microsoft bought this. I never knew that. Well, in that case, then yeah, sure. Go for it. Bum, 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 bum. Yeah, my bad. I didn't know. I just remember it. PC is cheaper if you buy it on G2A. Yeah, that too. Sometimes. Look at Jay. He knows where all the deals are, guys.
Daddy, does that help you?
Hmm?
Does that help you?
Oh, they added it recently. Okay, that makes sense. You found the game for under $5. Not bad. Yeah, $5, dude. Go for it.
Daddy, does this help you?
Does.
Daddy, you know what? Look at your game now.
Oh, it's gonna kick me again. How much is Red Dead Redemption 2? 33% off. Ooh.
Daddy, the Wandering Trader.
Ooh, wow. $44. Nah. If I go here, I type in Minecraft. Xbox Live, Xbox One key, $8 on Xbox. The Java edition? Why is this so much? $22? Wow.
Dame tu cosita, dame tu cosita, ay, dame tu cosita,
Daddy,
Yeah.
cosita,
the Wandering Trader just disappeared.
By last year. Yo.
Daddy, fly out.
Oh, what the?
Dame tu cosita, dame tu cosita, ay, dame tu cosita, dame tu cosita, ay, dame tu cosita,
Muévete para aquí, muévete para allá.
dame tu cosita, ay.
And my mic was muted. That was an epic fail. Anyway, we're gonna go ahead and cut it close, guys. I know you said 1 hour. It's been 2 hours, and then we'll be doing some more again soon. So thank you so much for everything. You guys have a great night, and I'll see you guys soon. Happy holidays. If I don't hear from you, stay safe out there, guys.